Okay, so guys, good evening. Welcome back. So we will continue with our session. So today is uh, day 11 session, and the date is 23rd of your October 2025, and the timing is evening 7:05 p.m. IST. So guys, I hope that you have covered all the recordings, right? Whichever we have covered so far. If not, please try to cover means go through the videos and try to recall everything whatever we have covered so far. And also I expect that all of us will have the have you I think you have created the AWS account, right? So please, if not, please at least create as soon as possible and try to practice on to that AWS account. Okay. Fine, guys. So in the last session, in the day 10 session, like before that our Diwali, right? Like we had covered some few stuffs. Basically, we tried to cover on mostly on commands, right? And also file permission, chmod, mkdir, and also we discussed about something about the redirection operator. Before that, we had discussed about what are data channels, right? So there are three data channels are there, right? Standard input, standard output, and standard error, right? And reduction operator, we just saw that this is the input reduction operator, output reduction operator, right? And uh, right, and this is the double greater than. Double greater than it will append, right? And the lesser than is for the here operator basically. So what is in here operator? So let us try to first log into the server. So let me log into the server, try to copy the public IP. Okay, and let me go to my downloads folder. Here you could see that I have the batch2.ppk file. So first you try to launch the putty exe. Just give an input as ubuntu at the rate, give the public IP address of that server. Go to the Windows appearance, change it. Try to give 16. Let it be bold, and color is the default. And under the connection you have SSH. Under the SSH you have auth. Under auth you have a credentials. So just try to click on this and browse it and try to give you the .ppk file. So this is what we have to give certain inputs while logging through putty actually. So super putty, what happened, right? It would be quite easy. So next class I will try to install super putty and try to show you how to log in it. So super putty is quite easy compared to just putty. Okay, guys, so I've logged into the server. So now here, all these three direction operators, like we had covered it, right? And only with this here operator, right? So guys, in today's session also, 11th day session, we would be continuing with few more commands, and also we will try to see if I will be able to cover some new other few other topics in Linux itself. So let me check with the, let me just try to check how much I'll be able to cover. If I'm able to cover many things, then what happened, right? We will try to even start with some new topic in Linux. Okay. So now, what is here operator basically? Guys, here operator, yeah. So, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Rajesh, yeah.
Yeah, Rajiv, he mentioned that he's not able to hear. Rajiv, could you please confirm? What about others? Guys, can you hear me? Was there any video log or audio log was there? I mean, was there any issue with the video or the audio?
No, sir, it is fine on
No,
my
sir.
side.
Okay, Rajiv, could you please confirm one more time? Once you just check it one time. Yeah, still it was issue from my side. Okay, okay, fine. Please try to re-log in again. I mean, rejoin again. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. So now, so guys, here operator also we have used a lot of times in our in our work actually, and basically the usage of the here operator is that something like where you will take a lot of inputs, okay, at a time and give an output. Say for example, if you want to uh, take a lot of input on something like, for example, if I want to tell, like, for example, you have a WC, word count command is there. Okay. Word count command, what happened, right? If it want to take multiple inputs. So basically word count command will give you like how many number of words, how many number of characters, words, and how many number of lines are there. So that is what the word count will give, right? Say for example, if I have a file by name cat Alice. You could see that cat Alice has two, it has only one line. So let me use a VI editor. Guys, don't worry, I will be covering VI editor today. So, but whenever I want to do any operation onto the file, okay, I can use any one of the editor. And one of the editor, which will be available in the Linux is Vim editor, Vim, right? Or in short, we can call it as a VA editor. So if I want to open a file, I'll use a VA editor, VA Alice, and say enter. So it has opened the file. Now, whenever you want to write some text inside the file, always you should have to go to the insert mode. So I'll press I. Whenever I press I, can you see it has gone to the insert mode? I'll do it again. If whenever I want to type or whenever I want to add any text inside a file, I'll always press I. I means it will take you to the insert mode. So then you can use your keyboard and just say enter so that it will come into the other line. And you can just start typing whatever you wanted. Right? So once you have written, it means that here only one line was there. Later I added two lines. Right? It is still in insert mode. So now whenever I want to save the file, I have to first do escape because you want to come out from the insert mode. And then like whenever you want to save the file, you have to say shift colon WQ exclamatory. Shift colon means shift colon, W means save, Q means quit, exclamatory is forcibly. Forcibly save and quit it. So when I say enter, you will come out from that file. So I repeat, whenever you want to open any file or you want to edit any file or you want to do modify any of the file, usually we use a VI command. So VI is not, but it's a Vim editor. So there are a lot of editors are there, guys, which are supported by Linux. But Vim editor is the one which is widely used across the organization. A lot of people use Vim editor. Apart from the Vim editor, we have a e-edit is there. Okay, G-edit is there. Okay, and some people use a editor known as a nano editor. Some people use a EXED editor. Though EXED editor are very, very old editor, it is not really used. But I'm just saying that these were the some of the editors which are having. Or it's a lot of people what they do that they will try to do all kind of editing in the Visual Studio Code or in Atom, right? Or in any other editors actually like Notepad plus plus, yeah, or Edit plus plus. These are some of the editors which is available freely. So you can download and you can do it. But basically when you try to work in the Linux machine, it means that you logged inside the Linux machine and you want to create a file or you want to do it. Usually we use a editor. Editor is the most famous editor, or else you can even use a gedit, right? Or else you can even write the file outside it and later export or copy into your Linux machine. That is quite little tedious task, so hence we don't do that. So it is better always that we should learn some editor in Linux, and one of the famous is editor. So VA is very important, guys, because in every day-to-day activity, because we are a DevOps engineers, we do a lot of deployments, we do a lot of configuration changes. Okay, and also like we try to edit the file, we try to automate many tasks by writing some scripts or so every day you will be interacting with writing some or the other file or some or the other no basic coding will be writing either in a JSON format or YAML format or in Python format or in shell scripting format or in PowerShell scripting. You can use any kind of format based on your project, right? We are tend to write some kind of a coding in the files actually. So we have to learn or understand how basically the VI editor works. So VI editor is very important, and VI editor has a lot of different modes. And VI editor has a lot of simple keyboard shortcuts so that it will make a person easily to do many of the tasks easily, right? That's the reason what happened, right? They will add a lot of shortcuts and everything, so it will make the end user life easy. So we will try to learn all those what are the shortcuts which are available in the Viator, right? And some of the options are in the Viators are long format only. It means that you cannot do any changes. You have to use the way it has been provided to you. But there are many other options other where they'll even give the shortcuts also. So we will tend to use both the things, guys. We will be tending to use the normal way of using the Viator as well as later we will be learning about the what is the quick way of learning this. It means that you need to learn about all kind of a shortcuts. So shortcut is also important. Why we do that shortcuts? Because it will speed our typing skills. It will speed our working. If we know shortcuts, everything, right, when you are trying to type some text inside the file, right, it will make your process very much faster and you'll be able to write the code in a very less time. If you are not aware of shortcuts, yeah, it will take some time to write the entire code, but eventually you will end up writing coding, but it will take a lot of time. So always a smart worker in DevOps engineer or in cloud engineer or in any platform engineer, they'll be very good at some editor so that their speeding skills, their writing skills, and their typing skills it will increase it, and they'll be able to deliver all the whatever they want to do on time. So all of us have to make a habit of learning VAtor, and we should able to know the shortcuts also. So that anyhow we will discuss it later how the VA editor works, right? But time being, what I'm trying to show that I'm just showing you some few options like how to open a file, how to write inside a file, and how to save the file. That is what I'm doing as of now. So when I'm trying to open a file, we always use a VI editor, VI Alice file, or else some people will also use like something like Vim Alice, right? So they'll also try to do like this, VIM Alice. Some people will do like that, but many people have seen in our version, they use a VI Alice. So it'll open the file. So it'll open the file in a read-only mode. Okay, it means that there is no editing or there's no permission to write it. Whenever you want to add any text inside a file, you have to always press I. I means insert mode. And then like you can take your, you can use your keyboard to just move your cursor and say enter. So now you could see that the cursor has come to the next line. Okay, then what happened, right? You will try to write some text inside the file. So as soon as you complete typing the whole text, you will try to even see the spellings, what if you have did any mistake and all. Oh, okay, you feel that whatever the text which I have given is fine. But what you could see that still it is in an insert mode only. Now you want to, whenever you want to save that, quit the file, save and quit from the file or just save the file. What you do that, you have to press escape button. You will come out from the insert mode, then say shift colon. Shift colon will means in VAtor it is X mode. Shift colon, shift colon means shift colon inside the open file means it is in X mode. X mode is exec mode, we say. Execute mode. So in X mode, what happened, right? You can do anything. You can save the file and quit it. You can just say quit it, right? You can do many options. So what I will do, I'll save and quit for the file. W means please save. Q means quit. Save and quit. If you want to add exclamatory, add exclamatory. Exclamatory means it is forcibly. So whenever you want to save or quit anything forcibly, you have to use shift colon WQ exclamatory. And this is always the best option, guys. Whenever we try to do a shift colon exclamatory, right? Exclamatory will help you to exit the file in a very smooth process, right? It will not give any error while exiting out. Plus, it will forcibly exit so that you will be able to comfortably work with the file actually. So many times what happens when you just say quit, it will not quit properly. Or when I say just say shift colon WQ and say enter, it will not quit it properly. So sometimes it happens. So always when you do a forcible on that, it means that you are literally coming out from that file. So when I said the shift colon WQ exclamatory and say enter, now you could see that I have come out from the file. Now what I'm trying to say that if I want to use word count actually, word count double lesser than, okay, or just say lesser than Alice file. So you could see that WC, it is getting an input from the Alice file, but you're using a single less than. Single less than is for the redirection operators. If you saw in the last class, single redirection means it is an input operator. So input operator means what happened at WC command will take an input from the Alice file, and what are the content is there, it will take as an input to the WC command. And what WC will do, WC will tell you how many of lines, how many of words, and how many of characters were there together, everything. It will give you the number like that. Okay, there are 5 lines are there in the file. Okay, 9 words are there, and totally 40 characters including the spaces. Now the thing is that why I told all these things, because guys, now we are talking about double lesser than. But here, okay, we understood like this is the input reduction operator. Same thing, what happened, right? Your WC command, you can even use the double less than sign also. Double less than means here operator. Here operator, what it will do that, it will take the maximum inputs and it will take as of complete input, and it will give an input to this command actually. Like for example, if I do a double WC double greater than, here what happened when you are doing a double less than, actually it means that you are using here operator. Now after that what happened, you have to give some name here. You can give any name, you can give your name or you can do anything. What I will do, I'll just give some names, end of file, EOF. Now when I say enter, can you see here it has took me to the secondary prompt. And now here it is asking for input. Let me give the same text. Hi. Next line is how are you? And then I'll say bye and say enter. And you could see that, guys, whenever you want to end your input, giving an input, always you have to use this no, delimiter word. So EOF is the one which I had used it. So let me give EOF. It means that you are ending the input which you are supposed to give and say enter. Can you see here, guys, a WC command? It takes many of the inputs and it is giving you the output like this. So where we use WC command, where you use double less than sign, guys? Double less than sign is used for basically, it will take maximum inputs from user and it will take the complete input, and based on the command what you are processing it, it will give that as an input to this command, and this command will process the entire data and it's going to give you the output to the screen or the monitor. Right, so that's what double less than is used. Now the thing question might come. Okay, I will we'll discuss about where is the use case or where we use this double less than sign or double less than operator. Double less than is number, it's a here operator, right, guys? It's a here operator. We will see now in some time what is the use case or where it can be maximum used. So it can be used while doing automation also, guys. Many times in automation we use this double less than sign, which is nothing but here operator. Okay. Now the thing is that, guys, one more question, one more example of uh, double is there. Say for example, if I open this Alice file, I'll try to remove this file. So I'll just say 10. I'll go to insert mode. I'll just say 10, 5, 9, 4, 2. Like this, I will give this number. So there's the content of the Alice file is what? What, guys? It is 10, 5, 4, 9, 2. Now, whenever I want to sort in a numerical order, so I'll use a sort command. Sort and say Alice. So it is not sorting, but if I say sort hyphen n numeric and say Alice, 2, 4, 5, 4, 1, why it is giving, guys? What is it? Sort numerical double less than Alice. Yeah, you have to give as an input. That's what you have to use a less than sign. So when you're giving the sort command with hyphen option numerical and from the input file Alice, you could see that it is showing me in the sorted format or in ascending format. Now the question comes, Rajesh, can I use the same sort command as a here operator? Yes, sir, can use like this. For example, sort double less than, give some arbitrary word, so ending word. In my previous case, I give the name as something EOF. EOF means end of file. As soon as you give EOF, what happened, right? You will be keep giving inputs actually. It will be keep giving. Here in this case, we give three inputs like hi, how are you, bye, and then finally I use the same word. So that whatever the inputs are given, that's going to stop here itself. It will consider only the data till here. Is it fine, guys? Now when you come back here, so you'll see that Rajesh, I'm using some arbitrary word. So you can use any name. Earlier I had used EOF. You can use anything. I'll use now my name, Raj. I'll say enter. So you could see that I will give something, banana. Okay, and then I will use orange, grape, pine, apple. Okay, and I will give the final, I give this delimiter word. It means that you don't have to give any further inputs, means you have to end with the delimiter word. So in my case, the delimiter is Raj only. So it means that all these inputs, guys, whatever you're given, it will be taken through this here operator. And once it takes all the inputs, what happens, this entire input will be given to the sort command. And sort command, what will do, it will be given to sort it in a alphabetical order or whatever order. Right? When I say enter, can you see here, guys? Apple is there. A, it starts with A. After A, B, nothing is there. Then, yeah, B is the banana. After that, G is the grape. And after the orange, and finally, it is pine. So you could see that all these inputs will be taken one at a time. Means one at a time it takes. And finally, it processed it and it gives you the entire output of the sort command. Whatever the sort does, right, it will show you the end of the, it is showing you the sorted format actually. So in this way, here operators are used, guys. Here operator, what you have to do, what you have to tell in interview is, it will take the maximum inputs from the user, whatever the user it needs. Finally, you will be passing a delimiter at the end, and then it will take this entire inputs, okay, and then it will process with the command or with whatever you are passing it. Here, sort command you are passing it. Sort command, what will do, it will display in the sortical order. It will display in the numerical or in the sorted way. That's how it shows actually. So you understood the importance, right? Now the use case about the here operator. What is the use case? So guys, it is very important. Most of the time we use these here operators for doing some kind of an automation task also. Okay, it depends upon your requirement. You use this here operator in basically when you are writing any kind of a script like automation scripts and all, right. So basically you use this here operator. Now where we use this here operator and why we do it actually. So guys, what happened, right? Like usually what happened in organization, what we do basically, right? We have a server which we call it as a stager actually. So you know that stager, we can call it as a stager, and some people call it as a jump server. Okay, so this is one stager, this is one server, main server, from where you will be logging into any other machine actually. And later what happened, right? There are many other machines are there, like here, like this. This is one machine, this is one machine, and that one. Like that, you will be having a lot of multiple machines you'll be having, like this. To assume that there are hundred thousands of servers are there, right? So this is a stager. Now what happened, right? Here what happened? This is a so all this is a stager and this is the Linux box only. It's a Linux machine. It's a Linux server only. This is also Linux, right? And also this is also Linux. All basically all are Linux servers. All these are Linux servers, guys. Okay. Now what happened? All the networking, everything is enabled, everything is working fine. And what we need to do, because why we have this stager, guys? Whenever any user, he's a user. Okay, he's a user, and this user he want to log into this server, this any one of this Linux server. He's an end user and he want to log into any one of this server. What he will do basically, that user will try to log into the stager first, and through the stager he will try to do an SS to this machine. So while doing SS, what happened? What SS do that? SS will go and try to connect to this machine. So till this end user will not complete his task, he'll be keep allowing the stager to be connected to this machine actually. So now once the stager which is there in our organization, when it connects to the Linux machine, okay, this is a Linux machine where it's a client Linux machine which should be using it. Now the thing is that guys, when you how it happens, everything, you know that internet uses SSH protocol to log in into this machine. Same thing what happened, the same server, it will also try to log into this machine, does some operation. So consider that this all the servers are not in one place, they are in different locations. And again, right, for the third server also, here also it will try to do an SSH and uh, try to get get the access of the server, and same thing. So what I'm doing that here, guys, if here I'm just showing 4, but in the real time what happened, you'll be having 400 servers or 200 servers or more than 200, 300 servers you'll be having. Now the question comes that Rajesh, this user want to do some task. And what he want to do from the stager, jump stager, he want to log into this Linux machine, and then you want to just run that script. That script, what it will do, that it is going to update our certain patches or something, or it's going to install certain patches or update whatever the script has written, right? It will do itself. It means that basically you will, from the stager machine, guys, you will be trying to log into all this machine and then trying to execute certain task or whatever he has given it. This is the normal thing, right? So it means that Rajesh, while when it log in it does the SSH connectivity. Yes, man, all SSH connectivity will be there actually. We need not to worry as of now. We'll see it in later how to configure the servers into passwordless communication, and how this SSH work. What are the options which are available in SSH? Some of the things like you need to understand, you need to explore, you need to learn it. So anyhow, SSH and all we'll be learning, no doubt, in some time about. Now try to understand SSH is a protocol. SSH means secure shell. So whenever you want to connect to any machine, or you want to from one machine to other machine, you want to log in it, we use this SSH command to log in actually. So SSH means here what happened, you are trying to connect to this machine. So ultimately you will be having a dedicated network line, guys, from where from here to here you will try to connect. So how you do it basically, here what happened, right? By sitting here in the jump server, here you try to do SSH to that SSH to this Linux one machine here. Consider this is Linux one, Linux two, Linux. So you'll be trying to do an SSH. As soon as you do SSH, what happened? Literally from your jump server, you will be logging here and you'll be sitting and working here. Now the question comes, Rajesh, if the hundreds of servers are there like same way, do you think that this jump server every time it will be logging into all the servers, like how you can automate it? Basically, The stager has to log into each and every machine and it has to perform some operation. Say for example, there is some kind of an upgrade came where you need to upgrade the network patching or something like that, right? So there is some tedious tasks are there. There are some tedious steps are which you have to follow it. Now the question comes, Rajesh, how I can make sure that I can log in each and every server without human interaction? It means that I need to achieve a automation where I can log into the server, check it, everything, and then finally I'll be able to perform the task, whatever you want, right? So basically, from the jump server, you want to do an SS. So what you do basically, right? You will try to write a script actually. Like this, you will try to write a shell script. If you want description of guys, I will show you, but just try to understand that. So what happened, right? Whenever you write any script, actually, basically you will try to do a first line will be hash bang slash bin slash bash. What is it? I will discuss later. Now what happened, right? What the user will do, this jump server will do that. He will try to do from here to here, he'll try to do SSH. So when you try to do an SSH, you'll use SSH and give the IP address of this machine. You try to do an IP address. So when you try to do an SSH to this server, here what happened, you do SSH, some kind of a key authentication will happen. Finally, you could see that this user is actually logging into this machine. Right? Now the question comes, Rajesh, how to automate it? Because the toolnet servers are, do you think that this person will say first he will log in it, he will try to update all the package and everything what is required, and then he will exit out, and again he will try to log into this machine, do all the operations and exit out. It is a time consuming task. You cannot wait forever to do it, because if you want to do around more than some 200 300 servers are there and you want to do all these operations, so how it works out? It doesn't work out like that, right? Because you need to have an automation so that you need not to do anything in the back end. No, things should be happening. You should not do anything. So that's what happened in the real time. What we do basically, we write a script and we try to run it, and to make sure that whatever we are doing manually, right, everything can be easily automated and we can able to achieve the complete automation actually. So, right. So for that, guys, what you do that basically what you are trying to do here, that you will try to create one list of the file, list of IP address file. There's a file which will create list of servers like that. You will say, right here, what happened? You will provide the IP address, okay, or phone number, or I mean IP address. What is it? Not phone number, sorry. IP address, or you can just say domain name. Domain names you can mention in that list. So usually we'll try to prefer to save all the IP address. So which IP address, guys? This end server IP address. So assume that this jump server want to connect to these 4 Linux machine. So all those 4 IP addresses will be there actually in that list of server file actually, like this. So it has a list of all the servers IP address or domain name. Basically, we'll try to keep a IP address itself to make our life simple. Now what happened? This is one file will be there which will be maintaining, and you will be maintaining one script also, script file also. Hashbang slash bin slash bash should be the first line of the script, right? And then like what happened, right? Basically, this is the list of files which will be maintaining. So let me do one thing, like let me try to keep it everything here only. Okay, guys, I'll try to keep it everything here so that it will not get confused. Okay, now you say that, Rajesh, I want to run an SSH so that it try to do everything. So what you do that, you have heard about the here operator. What you will do that, you will just say SSH hyphen I, or else you don't have it correct. SSH root, okay, at the rate. Okay, so before doing that, what you do that, basically you have to do a SS to each and every server. So for that, I'll use SSH double less than, specify the file name. The file name is list of server. So you will give one input, but what this list of server does has is list of servers has all the IP addresses. So it will take one IP address from this file and it will be given as input to the SSH. What SSH will do basically, it will try to log in from this here to here. Try to log in from here to here. And once you have done all the jobs, what you basically you do an exit. And again, what happened, right? Because you're passing a list here, this is the list actually. This is a list actually, which you're passing. So what you do SSH, it will take one command at a time. Once it is freed up, then again what happened? The next IP address will be taken. It will be assigned to the this one. You will try to get the You try to get the IP address, and then again you do an SSH double S, then give the list of servers. Now this time what happened, it will try to go and pick the second IP address. Is it fine, guys? So in this way, what happened, iterative fashion, you will be trying to log in each and every machine automatically like this. And what are the operation you wanted, you can perform that operation further. Once you log into this machine, then you should know what are the further things which I have to do, so that so that you'll be able to complete all the things, whatever you want to achieve by running the same script in the multiple servers actually. So hope that guys you understood why I'm using this here operator, right? So this is one use case you can tell in an interview if they ask it, but usually nobody asks this question like this. But still, I'm just saying keep it in your back of your mind that what is the use case of this one. Means if you want to do a multiple SS to many of the servers which is there, which resides in your data center, then you have to use SSH double S, then list the IP address of, give the IP address of all those IP addresses which the user want to log in into it. Is it fine, guys? Till here? Okay, guys. So like that,
Sir,
fine. Yeah,
sir, instead of using the here operator, why we can't do through the loop?
you can do anything. That's what I'm saying. You can do either through the this one, or else you can use a loop also. Loop also you have to create one list. You have to create one list of server file. So loop
Yes,
also like
yes.
that one. Yeah. Like for
Okay.
example, for loop for variable name like IP, variable name IP. We will cover all these things in, and then like you need to have a list of
List of server. Yes.
server file .txt
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
Anything you should have it actually.
Okay, okay, okay. Got it.
Fine. So now, yeah, that's how. And many places you will see when you go through in the real time, and if you open any of the script which is already existing in your project, right, you will see that in many places they have used this here operator. Fine, guys. Okay, good. Now the thing is that guys actually good. So in the last class, if you remember, we had discussed about this redirection operator. So greater, less than, greater than, double greater than, and the here operator. Here operator, yeah, it is act like a redirection, but usually here operator, it's not like exactly like a redirection. What the here will do that it will take a maximum input from the user and then it will process it and give the output. That's all it does. Okay, no other thing extra. Here operator doesn't do any other extra thing which these three operator will do actually. Now the question comes, guys, whenever we are doing a greater than, say for example, if I am using date command greater than, I'll give something like a file 4 and say enter. Right. So date output has read to a file by name date 4. Sorry, file 4. If it is a ls, you could see that there's a file 4 is there. When I do a cat of file 4, you could see that it has, you will get the output of the date command. Right. Now, if you do a double greater than, like for example, if you do a ls double greater than, specify the same file, file 4. So all the ls output will go to the file 4. If you do a cat of file 4, so guys, you could see that actually you have a date output already which exists in the file, as well as you could see that the ls output is there in the same file. Am I clear, sir? So this is okay. So it means that when I'm trying to do a greater than or double greater than, what exactly internet is happening is that here, I will write down here. When I'm using a double greater or a single greater than or double greater than, whatever I'm doing. So basically what happened, it is redirecting, but it is redirecting to your proper output channel, which is nothing but your screen or the monitor. So how it does basically, when I try to do a date greater than file 4, it is as equal as saying date 1 greater than file 4. Both are same. Without one, with one, both are same. Right? Because one means what is happened? 1 means what happened, guys? If you go to here, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. 0 means your standard input. Here, 0 means standard input. 1 is nothing but the standard output. So whenever you're trying to run any kind of a, whenever you're trying to run any, whenever you try to type anything, actually, basically, right, you need to display the all the things, what you're writing into the standard output, right? Or some screen, right? So where you're going to get the redirected output, you're going to get the actual output of a file or a content, whatever, to the standard output is nothing but your key or the monitor. You can even configure in such a way that actually that like you should not get the output at all on the screen. But still, I'm just saying that basically one is a channel where through that channel one, it's not but standard output. You're going to get all the output in the screen. I mean, in the monitor or the terminal or the screen. Similarly, if there is any error in your command, even that error also you can redirect to a error file. Now, for example, if I try to do an ls is going to list out all the files and directories, right? If I say ls sss like that, let's see, it says that command not found. So there's no command with this name. Hence, what happened, right? You are exited out, right? But what I'm trying to say that Rajesh, when I'm trying to execute this command, I'm getting some error message. No, the command not found. Okay, if this is okay, fine. This is one something where you are working on environment. Like you might be a test engineer, you might be a dev engineer, you might be a cloud engineer. You could be any engineer. You'll be using. You could be anything. But the problem is that when you are working into the lower environment, like dev environment or stage of environment, if you're getting this error, that is fine. You can able to see this output and you'll be able to understand why it is getting failed. But in the production environment, guys, you cannot get all the logs with all such errors. You need to redirect that error to some error file. So in the production environment, we will not redirect all of this file into, I can say that redirection operator is not preferable to be used in the, in the production environment, because you will get, if there's any errors are there, right, that errors will come here. So Rajesh, what to do if that cases? You have to say that, okay, if there is any error in your output file, redirect that error to the error file. Instead of getting an output, getting the error output into the standard output, you need to say that, Ajish, I want to get into the error file. Error file is something, if you see here in the documentation, sorry, in this data channels, you could see that we have standard error also. What the standard error say that you need to, whenever there's any error in your file or in a command, right, instead of getting the output to the screen or the monitor, you redirect that output to a error file actually. So that's what you could see that the standard error by default comes to screen or monitor, but still you say that Raj, I want to work so that so in that case what happened, right? The error standard is always the values 2 only. Now if you come back here, now here what happened, guys, I'm getting this command like this, but it says that command not found. But Rajesh, I don't want to get this error output here. I want to read it to an error file. So no problem, sir. You will be using same thing. You'll be using greater than. Instead of just greater than, single greater than, I'll be using two greater than. And specify the file name, file 4. So can you see here, guys, you're not getting any error now. So, but where the error went, it went to the cat 4. See, you got a file by name cat 4. In that cat 4, you got this error. Am I clear, sir? So whenever you use 2 greater than, it means that if there is any error, right, you are redirecting that error to error file. Here, file 4, you will be considering this as an error file. So guys, usually when I'm trying to do, we'll give appropriate name only, right? But I'm just making you to understand. That's what I'm randomly taking some file names actually, right? But usually when people try to learn this, they will actually give the file names only, and they will not. They'll try to understand from the very beginning how things works actually. So what I would say that you also learn in the same way only. Means whatever I'm teaching, learn in the same way. But some extra thing here and there I will add on so that you will get to know. Right. So 2 greater means error. If there is any error in your output, that error please redact it to the file 4 file actually. So guys, what happened, right? When you're trying to run some big command, where that command execution might take some 5 to 10 minutes to run it, you want even some information saying that, okay, while running, executing some commands or some task, right? If there is any actual output come, the actual output, where I have to read that output. Okay, if there is any error comes, where I have to read that output. So you should have a complete understanding. Okay, whenever I'm getting a proper output, the proper output should not come to the screen or monitor. I have to redirect to some file actually. Okay, similarly, whenever you are getting error, instead of getting an error to the screen or the monitor, you try to redirect that error to the error file actually. So you use 2 greater than. So in this case, guys, if I do lsls like this, you'll say that command not found. But when I try to lsls, I'll try to do 2 greater than and specify a file name, proper file name, like error file, like this. Enter. So now you could see that if you do a cat error file, you could see that you got the that output actually, error output. So very useful in our real time. We use this reduction operator heavily in our day-to-day activity, right? Okay, guys. Anything so far, guys? Any questions so far till here? Okay, fine. So, guys, we covered so far some of the commands, like basic commands only we had covered. We'll try to cover some more extra commands. Now, okay, so guys, there are many commands are there which are super user commands. Like for example, root user. Like for example, commands like commands like for example, you have something known as a if config command. You have command known as a fdisk command. Okay, in certain places, what happened, right? You need some special permission even when you are trying to change the ownership of the file. Chown command or add user command, right? And also like anything like for example df command, free command, like that. There are multiple commands as the mount command. There are so many commands are there, guys. Only the super user or the root user will be able to execute all such commands. Okay, but what happened, right? But there is something in Linux we call the sudo user. Sudo user will also get all the permissions from root user to execute certain task, or once again sudo user will also get all permissions from the root user to execute the certain task or commands being sudo user. Sudo user in this case we have made the Ubuntu as a sudo user, right? So now you could say that, okay, Rajesh, it means that when I'm trying to become a sudo user, you can, like you will get all permissions, right? Yeah, you'll be able to execute all the commands. Yes, most of the commands will be able to execute it because we are a sudo user. So in my case, guys, in case of machine, you're having a Ubuntu as a user. So Ubuntu is a default, the default user, or he's a sudo user, which has already been configured. So whenever you want to execute any task, actually, right, you will be able to run the task with help of a sudo user also. You don't need any kind of a special permission like that for running it. You can able to run by your own, right, and with your own what do you call with your own sudo user. So here in this case, it's a in case of Ubuntu, it's a Ubuntu itself is username and it itself is a sudo user actually. But in the real time on the organization, guys, you might not find this much flexibility and all. Like they start giving you for all the users, they start giving you sudo user. Like that, they won't do it actually. They will only give to specific people only in the organization. Right, with hard two, three people only will be a specialized guy whom they will provide all the details. Okay, guys. Till here, let me know, guys. Is it fine, Naveen? Did you understood the whole thing, whatever I discussed so far?
Yes, Rajesh. Just one doubt. The two greater than symbol is only redirect the error, or it will redirect the output also to file. That's
No, it will redact only the error. Like for
only error.
example,
Yeah.
yeah, only yeah. For example, if I do, for example, you have an ls command. Ls command is getting an output, but you're actually getting an actual output. So if you say that, Rajesh, let me redirect ls to something like a file 5. If there's any error, okay, redirect that error. If there's any error, redirect that to greater than something error file, error file, and say enter. So ls, you got an output, right? But that output is related to the cat file. When you do a cat, when you do an ls, can you see here? There's a file is there. Just a cat file 5. You could see that you got the output of the ls command. But here what happened, if there was any error, that error could have been related to this file. Consider that instead of ls, I will do same thing, ltt something greater than specify file name something file 6, redirecting, okay, redirect if there any error in the error file. So it means that when I'm executing any command, if the command is successfully executed, redirect that error to a file known as file 6. If there's any error is there, redirecting that error to the error file. So let's say because this command, we say that command not found, it's a failure actually. Hence what happened, right? It will redirect the whole output of it to this a file known as a error file actually. Okay. So shall we run this command? Yeah. See, you got an output, it got executed. When you do a ls, do you see anywhere cat file 4 files? Yeah, cat of file 6. Nothing is there because it created it. But if there is an error file, err file, yeah, you could see that. So it means that this output, the error output has read to the error file. So when you do a cat err file, so you could see that it gives you the error as a command not found, right? So like this we use in a real time, because that we don't want to get the error into the screen or the monitor. Even you don't want to even get the output also, right? Like that. So in the file, so the in the screen. So that's what we redirect it to a file. And if there is any error, we need to redirect to the error file, right? Okay, good, sir. Now, so what I was trying to tell here, guys, there are many commands are there which are super user commands or which only root user can execute. But since we are having some concept of pseudo user something which comes under the special category where he will get the super privileged modes or super privileged permission where he'll be able to execute all this command. So in our case, since it is an Ubuntu server, Ubuntu itself is a super user, or Ubuntu itself is a pseudo user. So he will get most of the permissions what the root user has actually. Right? So let me clear the screen. Now, guys, so commands are there. Like for example, if you want to check the disk, what are the disk we are having in your system? What I will do, I'll just say sudo fdisk -l and say enter. So can you see it, guys? In our system, we are having various different disks actually. So you could see that, guys, here. Guys, can you see here? There are a lot of disks are showing it. Here you could see that /dev loop 0. Okay, it is showing /dev loop 1, /dev loop 2. Okay, /dev loop. So you could see that these are the devices which it is showing it actually. And all these are actually identified by this device types. And you could also see that there's a device on the /dev nvm. What is it? 01m. This is one type of disk, and it is showing as an Amazon Elastic Block Store. And you could see that actually how many sectors are there, how many IO disk size is there, what is this disk identifier, and you could see that these are the partitions you are having. So /dev nvm01, you are having this partition, this partition, this and this. So right now you could see that there are 4 bytes. So basically whatever the disk which is attached to a system, if you want to check it out, we use this command fdisk-l command. So using the same fdisk command also, you can even do a formatting. You can even create multiple primary partitions or main primary partition or multiple primary partitions. So many things you can do with this fdisk utility, right? And to check whether which are all the file system which is mounted in your system, we use a sudo command, and you have to set this df-h, enter. So you could see that it will show you what are the different file system which is mounted in your system, right? It is mounted in your system. Okay. Now, whenever you want to check the RAM size and the swap size, we use a command, free command. We execute a command free-m. It will show the RAM size and the swap size. So you could see that my RAM memory is almost like 1 GB, out of which 345 MB is used, 199 memory is free, 2 are shared, and this much is buffered, and this much is available. So out of 914, 568 GB of your, 568 MB or whatever the GB, it will be in terms of MB. 568 MB is a available memory space. Similarly, for the swap, they are not given any swap space. Is it fine, guys? So it will give you the memory size and the swap. Memory means your primary memory, RAM memory, and the swap area. Most of the time, you will see that swap area is always 000, right? But you can create a swap file by using a command say mkswap, right? Like for example, here swap area 0. Suppose if you say sudo mkswap
Rajesh,
by swap. Yes, sir.
Minimum swap should be allocated, right? When the
Yeah,
disk is not
but it
provided.
is not required because there's an Amazon in it. We are creating this service through the Amazon, right? Amazon is not providing the swap area. It is not required.
Okay.
Okay, swap area is the one which you will get a virtual memory. Okay,
Yes.
swap is something like that. It comes from your disk only. It'll act like a virtual memory, and it'll extend your capability of your main memory, RAM memory. So
Yes.
whenever there's a scarcity of the memory in the RAM, it'll take that. It'll take the memory from the swap itself. And also swap is also used for uh, what I call. It always is used for doing a swap in and swap out. So whenever a process is not being executed by your CPU, okay, what schedule will do? Schedule is going to swap in the process from the main memory to the swap area. Whenever the processor or when the kernel want to execute that, it will try to do a swap out from the swap area to the main memory. The swap in and swap out, all this operation is done by your kernel only. By your kernel means there is one daemon is there, no, the K swap D, kernel swap daemon. That swap daemon will do all this swap in and swap out business actually. So if there is any memory in the swap area, then only it will do a swap in swap out. If there is no memory only, assume that here in this case it's showing 000. So there what happened, right? There's no swapping business at all. Your scheduler cannot swap it actually. Where it will swap it? If there's no memory, where it can swap it? It cannot, right? So that feature is disabled actually. Right? And here it is showing 000. As I said earlier, like if you want it, you can even create one swap file and then attach the swap file, right? Like that. You need to use a dd command to create a file. Okay, and then like you have to just say mkswap and specify that file, whatever you have created by swap, and then you have to say swap on and swap off like that. So then what happened, right? Your swap file will be added here actually. So you have to just say steps to create swap file in Linux. Now rarely this question will be asked, guys, not that much, but still just for our top of our mind, right? We need to just remember these things, that's all. So that are given, like you have to use a dd command first or anything. You have to just set if free -h, you will see that okay. But you could say out of 14 GB, 14 GB is used and 0 is free. Right? And then like you have to say swap on fn show. It will show you. After that, what you're doing that you need to create a swap file. So to create a swap file, you use the fallocate command. You will try to create 1 GB of swap file, which we call the swap file itself under slash. Then you have to give chmod. Then mark this new file as a swap area by using mkswap command. Okay, after that you have to enable, you have to just say sudo swap on. So when you run this command, basically what happened, it will show you that this file has been added into swap area. Is it fine, guys? So I would recommend this, please go to this document. It is good document. How to create swap file. Okay, guys. Okay, fine. Now, what are things we have? We have, okay. Now, so guys, in Linux, actually, whenever we want to create any user, actually, okay, there are two commands are there. Okay, creating user accounts. There are two commands are there. One is a add user command and other is a user add. So you can create by any of these two commands, you can create a user. But usually what happens, right? You always in the industry we use this add user, right? And you need to, it will ask you to provide all the details. You need to provide some details for everything for creating a user with the help of a add user command. User add is something, a small modification that I will tell you now. So whenever I want to create any user, say for example, if I go to cd/home and say enter and say ls, can you see only Ubuntu is there? Suppose for example, in our group guys, let me take some name. For example, anything, I can even take Naveen or Himanshu, anybody's name I can take, or Dipali. Yeah, correct. Swap on, swap off. Yeah. Now I want to create something, I will create a Naveen. So for that, I'll have to use sudo add user. Okay. And then say Naveen. So I'm creating a new user account by name Naveen and say enter. So can you see here guys, when you're creating user, it is saying that, okay, it is selecting the user ID JD from this group actually, from this series actually. And then like you could see that adding a new group Naveen. So it means that it is actually creating a new group also altogether. And then like you could see that it is creating home directory /home Naveen, as well as all the skep files will copy from etc scalp file to the home directory or the home partition of the Naveen actually. So these are certain information it is showing you while creating user account. So, and it is asking you for you to enter some password. So I'll give password like something like 123, enter. It'll ask me to give one more time. I'll say 123, enter. So here what happened is asking you to, you please give some inputs. So full name is nothing, I'm not giving. Roll number, I'm not. Room number, work phone. If you want, you can give a phone number, others you can leave it. And home, phone, for others, and finally say yes and say enter. So now you could see that guys, it has created a user account by name Naveen. How do we verify it? You just say cd to /home and say ls. You could see that Naveen is there. It means that a new account has been created. Or else you can use a cat of etc password file. When you open this file guys, you could see that here at the end Naveen user is created. So earlier Ubuntu was there, Naveen I created. So shall we create one more user account? Just for simplicity sake, Himanshu or whatever. We'll take Himanshu or we'll take Pankaj, whatever, it's fine. So how do you do it guys? You have to just say sudo add user Pankaj and say enter. So it is asking me to give the password. So I'll give the password as 123, enter. I'll give one more password, one more time, 123, enter. And just say enter, 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 enter. And finally say yeah, why, yes. So you could see that you have created a user account. How do you verify it? You can either use you are already under home. If you do ls, can you see Pankaj user has been created? Or else if you do a cat of etc password file, you could see that Naveen was created before Pankaj. Now you could see that Pankaj is the user which is created. So add user is a simple command. So what basically add user will do is it will make the life simple, because when you are trying to do add user what will do that guys, it will try to create a folder under /home. Okay, it'll try to create the folder name. So with whatever the name, right, which you're creating. So I create Pankaj, add user Pankaj, right? It'll create a folder by name /home, under /home, it will create under user Pankaj. After that, what happened, right? When you are executing this add user command, it will create this home directory. Plus, it is asking for you to provide the username and it will ask you to provide the password. So you have provided the password two times, right? Two times you have given you have provided the password. And of course, there are some other things which you have treated. You have to say yes, 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 right? And then finally, a user account will get created. Now the stuff is that what is the difference, small difference between add user and user add? So guys, when you are using user add command, what will do that? It will what happened? It will not create the home directory. It will not create the home directory. So it means that we need to manually go and create it. So it means that Rajesh, if you do a user add, and if I say something like Ravi, it will not basically create /home Ravi, it will not create it. User account will be created, but it will not. It will be thinking, okay, while creating the user account, it will not ask any inputs actually. It will directly take your name, that's all. And then it will leave it. Later, what happened, right? You have to check, okay, whether the home directory is created or not. If not, then you try to create it under /home. You try to create the user folder name Ravi. So under that, you have to even do some other operation also, like skill file, right? You have to copy from one location to this location where, like you created a user account by name Ravi, right? You need to copy some of the files under the skill directory. So there is a tedious task. There is a tedious process of creating user account if you are using add user. So user add, sorry. So user add basically, guys, it is not at all used anywhere. We always use add user command under to create uh, the file, I mean, to create a home account, and by default, all the things should be set up with the help of a add user command. Am I clear, sir?
Yes, Rajesh.
Good, sir. Good to know. Okay, now fine. So far, so good. Okay. Many other commands are there. One by one, we'll be slowly covering, guys, most of the things. Okay, now. Okay. Let us try to understand few other things, guys. Okay. So we know that when we switch on a system, right, we create a two space will get created. This is a RAM memory, and we know that there are two spaces which get created, right? What are the two spaces, guys? User space and the kernel space, right? So this is nothing but the user space, and this is your kernel space. We know this. So literally a RAM memory, it divided into two spaces, right? So here what happened, in case of a user space, what happened, the user will log in. Like here what happened, right? Pankaj will log in, Navin will log in, right? Navin will log in, Ubuntu will log in. So there are so many user accounts who will get login, right? When they log in, they actually sit in a user space and they'll work. And here in the kernel space, your kernel will be apparent like this. This will be a big kernel like this. Here what happened? The kernel will be running. Right? Now the thing is that, guys, whenever a user logs in, we know that every user will get its own terminal. He'll get his own terminal. Terminal, it is basically, terminal means basically what, guys? It is not like that it is something like a device or something. No. When a user logs in, he will get some terminal. So how do you get the terminal? By executing the tty command, right? If you remember, /pts/0, this is a terminal which is given for this. So this terminal name will be given actually like this. Right? And after the terminal is given, what happened, right? Usually what happened, right? Each and every user will get its own shell actually like this. He will get his own shell. What is that shell, guys? That shell is a bash shell. Right? Bash is a default shell in Linux operating system. So for every user, it would be Pankaj, it could be Naveen, it could be Mahesh, it could be Rajesh. For any user, whoever logs into the system, they will get the bash shell. Along with the bash shell, you'll also get a terminal also. Right? Along the bash, you'll also get a terminal. Like how I have drawn diagram here, right? Sorry, you'll get a terminal also. Every user account will get a terminal as well as a shell. That is a bash shell. So now what is this shell? So bash shell is the interface between user and the kernel. Guys, 1 second, guys. Somebody has come. 1 second, be online. Sorry, guys. So guys, bash, what is this bash shell? As I said, bash shell is an interface between the user and the kernel. So whenever the user want to execute any task, he want to run any command or the application, the bash shell will create an environment. So it is also an interface. It's in between user and the kernel. So whenever the user want to communicate with the kernel, like Pankaj or Naveen, they want to communicate with the kernel, they cannot directly communicate with it. They can communicate via with the help of a shell itself, and that is a bash shell. So being a Linux user, we need to know how the shell works. We need to understand what are the shell features, what are the shells which, what are the features the shell provides. A lot of things we need to learn and understand about the bash also to some extent. I'm not saying that you need to learn in a very deeper way. It's not required, but still, for a DevOps engineer, right, at least some minimal information you need to have about the bash shell, because when you're working with the system, you should be able to understand in a better way. That's the reason we should always have a understanding, some good understanding about the bash shell actually. Okay, some people call Rajesh, there's a dash shell, is a DSH. There's an ash shell is there. What is the difference between ash shell and a dash shell? They'll keep asking such questions. Yeah, right. So there are different types of shells are also there. We can see or we can discuss about that also in some time. But usually what happens, shell is an interface between the user and the kernel. So whenever a user is executing any task or he's executing any command, basically what happens, the shell is going to create an environment for the execution of that command or a program. Shell is going to create an environment. What is an environment it creates basically? If a shell is executing any command, what kind of environment is creating? Basically, guys, whenever the shell want to execute any, whenever the user want to execute, whenever the user want to execute any command or any application, shell, that is a bash shell, creates the environment. What do you mean by creates the environment means? Create the environments. Firstly, a process has to be created. A process has to be created. So for this, what bash will do basically, bash is going to call something as a fork, and that fork, what it will do, that it's going to create a child process. It's going to create a child process. Right, internally all this happens, we need not to worry. So for that, first process has to be created. For that, bash, what will do, bash is going to create one child process or the subshell process with the help of a fork system call. And afterwards what happened, right, it will try to load that program, load the command or the program or the execute or the program with the help of exec call. With help of exec call or exec system call, the load happens. And what happened, right? You need some memory. Memory is required to run the program or to run the command, right? Right. So some kind of a memory allocation has to be happen to the process. Okay, and that bash will take care of that. You need not to worry. Bash internally will call some kind of a procedure call where that some memory will be allocated for that newly created process actually. And finally, what happened, right? Once finally, when the command is executed successfully with the exit status as 0, then the bash shell should take that as in output and display to the screen or monitor or to the terminal. Whichever the medium is, it has to display the output, right? So this is what internally the bash will do, guys. So whenever the user want to execute any command or application, what the bash shell will create an environment to execute that command or the application. But what internally happens, these are the some few points, it happens like that. So now we are clear about, like, okay, Rajesh, what are the internal what happens? Okay, can we dig more deeper into this? Yes, sir. We can dig more deeper into it. What exactly each and every thing happens. So now what happened, right? Whenever you want to check if there is any command is getting executed, What are all the function calls where the bash shell is in turn calling to check it out everything, you can use with the help of a strace command. Like for example, if I'm executing ls command, ls will display all the files and a trace. But Rajesh, is there any way that I can trace this so that I will check how this ls command is executing, what are in turn the shell is calling to execute the ls command and we are getting this output? Yes, sir, we can use a strace command. Okay, see, if you say strace and then say ls, enter. Can you see here? These are all the so many calls it is doing internally. When you're doing strace and say ls, see the shell is in turn calling execv, brk, mmap, openat, fstat, and you could see that so many call you're getting, right? And you could see that finally you could see that it is doing some write operation, and you could see the ls output, al is dead. See, these are the files, right? It is displaying, right? To the standard output is nothing but the screen or the monitor, right? One is what? Standard output. Can you see here? In the last class I told, right? In the data channels, standard output, that the output, the value what we are giving is 1. If there is any error, oh, there has been error, 2. So what it is doing here, if you try to check it carefully, it is calling a write system call, and in the output of this entire ls will be read to the standard output 1, which is nothing but the screen or the monitor. So you can verify that Rajesh, it is calling so many different calls for executing this ls command. So whenever you are executing any command or any application, guys, it will always it will try to always call some many of the calls, and that call we call as a system call. We call it a system calls. But Rajesh, we need to do have to worry all these things. Not really required, guys. I'm not saying that you need to know all these things, but still it is good that if you have from your back of your mind that okay, these are the things which happens, right? During in the back end when things are getting executed, it'll be good actually. Okay, strace command, if you're using strace hyphen s and specify the command strace hyphen ls, there's some kind of a table was there. It used to show in the table. I've forgotten. There is some table is there. Through a table also can display it actually. I mean, the output you're going to get in the table format actually. Is there any table format? Even S was there, no? Okay, this is something different. Okay, I know I will recollect that option. So with that option, you can able to display in the tabular column, like in a table format, you can get the output of the entire stress command actually. Okay, fine, guys. Okay, now so bash basically, guys, bash is a derivative. Bash shell. So guys, we are discussing now with the bash, okay, bash shell, because we need to let us try to understand about the bash shell to some details. I'll come back to the commands because command is also very much important, and parallelly even we need to learn the concept of the bash also, that is also important. So both parallelly go hand in hand. So sometime I will switch to the bash shell. I will try to tell something bash. From the bash shell, I'll switch to the commands and I'll try to explain about what are the other commands which are there. So that both will go hand in hand so that we'll understand in a better way how things works. So our main intention being a DevOps engineer, guys, that we should know all the commands. The first important thing, maybe some 20, 30, 50, 100, what are the commands which I told you, right? We should be aware of all those commands and we should know what is the output you're going to get it. And also suppose, for example, if you are while running that command, if there is an issue comes or the output is not coming properly or whatever might be that, you need to even able to fix the issue also, right? After learning all the commands and with now your next chance that okay, Raj, let me learn about the bash and the bash shell itself actually. So you need to learn about what is a bash shell will do, how the bash shell works when we are actually passing certain parameter or something like that, where you are going to get the output of that bash. Okay, after that what we're going to do. So many things are there where we can explore a lot of things in the bash itself. So bash shell basically, guys, it was derived from bone shell only. So the first shell which came to the market was bone shell. In short, we call it SS shell. SS shell. Okay, guys. And bone was the first shell which came into the Unix operating system. Okay. So derivative means they took all the features from the bash bone shell. They added a lot of features and they called find it as a bash shell actually. So bash shell is done by born again shell. BORN, 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 AGN again shell. Like this, we call it a bash is born again shell. The full form is born again shell. So bash shell is a part of the GNU project actually. So GNU called as a GNU is not Unix. GNU's not Unix. It's a never-ending acronymy, not Unix. So it comes under the GNU project. So there are many projects are there, guys, open source projects, which comes under the Free Software Foundation, which comes under the GNU projects, which comes under the GPL license, general public license, we say. So many of the projects comes under this, under these organizations, like FSF, you say, Free Software Foundation, or a GNU project, or it's GPL, General Public License. Whenever you're writing any kind of a kernel model, so most of the kernel models are from the GPL licensing itself. They try to take this GPL license and they try to do it so that your code will be freely available for anyone. Suppose you have written any kind of a project code using GPL license, it is your wish that you can share your code to the open forum so that other people can go through your code what you have written it. So that's we call it a general public license. But most of them they use it, but actually they'll not make it free. They'll keep it as a proprietary because if suppose somebody want to use your code, they can use it, but they have to pay the charge. And also in the future, if you want any kind of a support, you will approach that particular team or the particular vendor person. So he will try to understand your requirement. He will try to provide the budget allocation for it, and he'll start supporting you. And you have to pay that money, whatever the support you are taking. So in today's time, guys, most of the organizations, how they earn money, right? They earn the money by using these open source tools. And also what happened, right? They will give a lot of supports to the end client. So the end client, what happened? He need a product plus he need a support also. So through that way only we like most of the organization they earn money actually. They make money even though the products are free. It's freely available, right? Still what happened? They need a support. So they'll catch hold to the team or to individual or to the company where they support all those projects, where they have expertise guys who work on that project and who will be able to support for all your queries. That's how they make the money. Even you also can make money. Even I am also making money by taking trainings, right? I teach the open source trainings and I take money from you guys. That's how I earn it, right? Fine. Now, Bash is a GNU project and Bash is derived from the Bourne shell. Bash has all the features, guys. Bash has the features of the C shell, plus it also has the feature of the Corn shell. So there are multiple shells are there, guys. First shell, which was types of shells. There are so many other types of shells are there, but most are Bourne shell, which you call SH. Okay, then we have a Bash shell. Then very long back, we used to get one shell, the C shell. Now it is not used, guys, but still it is there in some operating system. We have a Corn shell, we call it Q and Corn shell, or we can call in short as SKS shell. We have sometimes a PDK, public domain Corn shell, the PDK but public domain Corn shell is there. Afterwards, you are having something known as a dash shell, ash shell. Many are there, right? And what are the things, guys? The shell, corn shell, bash shell. Yeah, this much pretty much actually. Right. Okay. Now, the thing is, guys, as I said, right, bash is a combination of both these shells. Yeah, Krishna, great. Krishna, I would recommend that you please try to uh, you guys please try to if you have any question you can put down, but I would say that I would recommend again that you please unmute and say whatever you want to say. That will be good because you'll be interacting with me, I'll interact with you, and it'll be a healthy discussion rather than you putting a message in the chat which I might not see it immediately, right? It's a good thing if you're saying about the command, you can say Rajesh echo dollar shell is a command, right? Yeah, it's all, we'll discuss all those things, right? Good. And guys, so bash shell is a derivative from the Bourne shell. That's what I said. And bash is a combination of the C shell and the corn shell. So these are the two shells, guys. What are the features or what are the syntax these two shells has? So even the bash shell also supports that. Suppose you've written some kind of a script in the C shell. or some kind of script in the conn shell, and you're using some syntax while writing a script based on the bash shell or the conn shell. Based on that, you'll be you'll be using the syntax in your, okay, and you can execute it. But bash, what happened when you have a bash is a combination of the C shell and the conn shell. It means that what are the features or what are the syntax where the C shell and the conn shell has, right? That syntax is supported by your bash shell. So tomorrow you can write the C shell script actually, and you can even run in a bash shell also, it supports. So tomorrow you can write any kind of a conn shell, and you can just happily go and directly run that conn shell script in your bash. It will support it actually, right? Okay, guys. So I mean, this all these individual shell, guys, these were developed by some specific people. Like Bond shell was developed by the person named Steve Bond. Steve Bond. Hence, what happened? This shell was given after his name actually, like Steve Bond, right? They took this name Bond and they called the shell. Bash shell. It's a project, or it's a product which came by within the GNU organization. It came under the GNU organization. The organization. It is not like one developer is involved. There are multiple developers are involved in developing this shell. Okay, and then like C shell was designed by the person by the Bill Joy. Bill Joy is the same guy, guys, who is having a company, I mean, who was having a company named Sun Microsystem. He was one of the co-founder actually. Later, what happened? Sun Microsystem was acquired by the Oracle company. So Oracle company, the biggest loss what they made in their history is by acquiring this Sun Microsystem, because whatever they want to utilize by acquiring this, they couldn't completely fulfill it actually. They paid a huge amount for acquiring the Solaris, no, sorry, Sun Microsystem company, but they couldn't get the complete benefit from that actually, right? So Bill Joy was one of the co-founder of this uh, company by name Sun Microsystem, and he's the one who designed this C shell. Corn shell was developed by the person by name David Korn. Is it fine, guys? Okay. Now, as I said earlier, right, along with the command, guys, we should also learn about like what are the features where this bash shell provides. How internally this bash shell works, that we need to understand that anyway we will be slowly learning that. Plus, we should also understand about what are the features where the bash shell provides to the end user, so that he will be aware of how exactly the shell behaves in a particular way. What are all the syntax it follows it, right? And tomorrow, if I want to do anything, right, what are the things which I have to keep in mind while executing any task or any kind of a command, right? So those things and all you will get to know when you are better understanding about the feature of the shell itself. So now, so what I will do, guys, I'll just try to list out the features today. Maybe today I may not be able to cover. We'll be trying to cover in tomorrow's class. So features of the bash shell. Okay, the features are command line editing and command completion. There is something the aliases which we discussed some time back also, but I'll just write job control. There is something history is there, and what are the things? You have something the tilde, or you can say tilde expansion, brace expansion. What are the other things? Arithmetic substitution. And command separator. Okay. Variable expansion. Brace expansion. So there are lots of features are there, right? Like for example, even you have a SHOPT, shell operations, shell options actually. Like these are some of the features which you will be doing. Okay, variable expansion, command separators, and all. Like these are some of the very, very important features which are available in the bash shell. Anyway, we will discuss all these things. Okay. So guys, I think today is enough for us. We learned some few commands, right? And what we do in the next class is that actually we will try to complete next session, that is tomorrow. So what are the next topics agenda? That we will continue with few more commands, continue with the commands. Okay. And some of the important commands are something like commands like network-based commands. Okay, we're going to cover that. We'll be covering some important commands like find, grep, set, arc. This is something
Curl,
we, yeah, curl,
wget.
curl, yes, wget. Differences between them, difference between the curl and the wget. That's good. We will see this also. Very important. All of us have to understand about that. Okay, and afterwards we'll be learning about something user management related commands. So once we are done with that, we will try to revisit the shell features, try to learn about all the shell features, and then get into writing, understanding about the shell scripting. Important. Okay, all shell scripting we need to complete it, right? And like we'll take on small mini project uh, by writing a shell script. Okay, and also there is some utility known as SSH. So SSH related commands and options. We will even discover those things.
Like passwordless logins.
Yeah, that and all is a part of, anyway, we will do that also, but that is all part of every DevOps tool. So we will be doing all those passwordless communications, everything when you are when you are learning SSH command.
Yes.
Yeah, all those things we'll be covering, right? Fine, guys, with this we'll stop it. So it's a long journey because I will take around 3 to 4 sessions to complete all these things, whatever I've told today, right? So it will take minimum 3, 4 or 5 session max. Okay. After that, we will see if I'll be able to cover some 1 or 2 troubleshooting sessions. Also, I will see, right? And scripting, what I will do that, guys, I'll not be covering a full fledged because we don't have to learn that much deeper. As I told earlier, like shell scripting, it is still used in the organization. I'm not saying that it is not used, but what happened in the interview purpose, they're not asking that much in shell scripting. Rather, they're interested to know much about the Python actually. Python, they are very much interested. They'll ask you directly how many years of experience you're having in Python and whether you'll be able to do the automation or not, or in your previous projects, have you did any automation, or whether you're involved in doing a lot of automation tasks. So these are the very, very important things they ask it. And with this only the selection happens actually. To be very honest with you guys, 90% of the organization today, when they're hiring it, they are interested to know how much this person knows Python. Right, because guys, in our course we don't have a Python course, but yet as I said, right, I will be taking Python also. Right, I can after the Linux, if you want, I can start directly with Python also. But Python, I will tell you very frankly that Python will take minimum some 25 to 30 sessions. I mean, 1 month it will only take for only to learn Python only. But that itself is a huge thing actually. 1 month you have to give, or else I'll try to take more sessions, try to complete within 1 month. Means 1 month means before 1 month, like say within 20 days or 25 days, I'll be able to cover some 30 sessions or 32 or whatever the number of sessions, so that we'll be able to cover it. That would be more specific to Python for DevOps actually. So I can do that, but what I will do that, I will not do it because what happened, Python is something, yeah, we can learn any time. We can learn either at the very beginning of your learning, learning stage. You can learn now itself, or you can even learn after later also. It means that after completing some 2, 3 tools, okay, you say that Raj, I'm good at Git, I'm good at GitHub Actions, I'm good at Docker Kubernetes, good at Terraform. Yeah, now what I have to do? Yeah, please better learn Python. So either way, sir, anywhere you can learn either at the very beginning or either you can learn in later also. My recommendation for you that learn little later, because there are many important tools are there which we need to cover actually, right? Starting from Git to GitHub Actions to up to Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, like these are the very huge, heavy tools actually. Let us try to learn this, and then like once we are done with this, once we understand the whole thing, how the things works in the complete CI/CD pipeline, then we will try to see how we can automate it actually. So for automation, we will be using Python. Okay, we'll be using Python modules. right? And there are various use cases are there for the Python, right? Python can be used for automating any kind of an automation task in your DevOps pipeline. Python can be used to automate writing the test cases for you to do some kind of a testing. Python can also be used to do automation in your cloud. Actually, in your cloud environment, you want to do anything, you can automate it, right? So there are multiple use cases of Python are there, guys, which you will come across when you are working on DevOps and cloud, because Python is used everywhere. Even Python is used even for doing a website development by using Django. Okay, Python you used for with the help of a Panda models. Like you will be able to write many of your AI related, like LLM models or the applications you will be able to write. Python has a very huge diversification. It means that when you start working on Python, there is a never ending. There is never ender. Never end means there is no end of the learning itself. It will be keep going on actually. But whatever we need it, for example, you will say, Rajesh, I'm a DevOps and I'm a cloud engineer. To what extent I want to learn Python so that I should say that, sir, at least intermediate level, you need to learn all the features about the Python so that at least should be able to write very small codes actually. So that you'll be able to write the code and will be able to do verify, test everything, and finally say, okay, this automation is working. It means that this script is working. Till that stage, I feel like, okay, every one of us have to learn in the Python in a decent way. In a decent way. Am I clear, sir? So let's hope that I'll be able to cover that much a decent level of Python so that we will at least try to think about how we can automate certain tasks in DevOps or in cloud when we are working, right? With the help of some analyzing, with the help of some projects, everything, so that we will get to think, okay, now I learned Python, everything, I know certain basic things about Python. Let us see how these basic things, what I learned, can be implemented in the project level. That is what our main intention should be. So once you have that habit of writing a code for any kind of an automation task, whenever they give any task for you in the project, right? When you're able to write a code and show this is how it can be automated, then you can say that, right, guys, then your automation task or your coding, your coding journey will start at that time. So then you'll understand. But I would say that, okay, suppose some people have learned the shell scripting very well, the bash shell scripting very well, or some people have learned the PowerShell scripting, or in their previous projects, they have worked on Python, sorry, not Python, the PowerShell scripting, they have used it. Definitely, guys, that idea, whatever you learned by doing it in bash shell scripting or the PowerShell scripting or any other, like suppose some people have long while they would have worked on Ruby scripting, some people have worked on TCL/TK scripting, some people would have worked on Perl scripting. So definitely Python, while learning Python, it will add on a lot of value for them because they already know some scripting or the programming language. Some people know about the C, C++, Java. For them and all, learning Python will become very easy. I'm not saying that you can't learn or anyone who is not into programming, they can't. You can learn, but it will take some time. But really, you will be able to learn in a very effective way if you when you are whenever you are when you start learning on the Python. So I would seriously recommend, guys, whoever is taking a DevOps and cloud as a training right from any institute, they have to teach Python. Python should be part of the course curriculum, and they should show how Python will be used for doing automation tasks also. If that is there, then I would say that that will fulfill that whole course content actually. So guys, with that, let me stop the recording. So guys, any questions so far? Of course, we will cover all these things, whatever I said in every day's class, right? Another 7 to 8 sessions, I'll be able to cover all these things actually. So then almost I can say that, okay, our Linux is almost done. Okay, we are good with Linux, we are good with commands. Now let us try to learn our journey in understanding the DevOps tools, right? It will start with the Git, and then we'll go slowly with the GitHub actions. While making GitHub actions, I will explain about the build process, how to do build and all everything, and then get into GitHub actions, try to learn how GitHub action works to write a pipeline and everything. Parallel at the same time, I will share with the Jenkins video so that I will tell you, please go to the Jenkins videos. So you take 1 month of time to completely go through the Jenkins videos. Now you have a knowledge of two tools actually. One is the Jenkins, another is GitHub actions. Very good very good, because you have to showcase both these tools in your resume. And you have to say that, okay, I've used both this pipeline in my project actually. So like in many companies, they'll ask you like, have you worked on Azure DevOps? Have you worked on Azure? This is also one of the very strongest tool which they use in our organization. We will discuss about those things on the later part, like what you want to discuss when you talk about Azure DevOps or something. Some company will ask you whether you have worked on harness tool. Some company will ask you whether you have worked on TeamCity or whether you have used Circle CI. There are many CI/CD pipeline tools are there, guys. we cannot say that I know everything. No, nobody can able to tell that, and nobody has a knowledge also. You have to stick to what you have a knowledge on pipeline as well as on Jenkins as well as a GitHub Actions. Only these two things only you have to stress. You have to say that I use only these two tools in my project. That's all. So guys, with this, let me stop the recording. I think you got the context what we are going to cover in our upcoming sessions. Okay, let me stop the recording.